Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Copperline Rattler Ranch. I'm Julia. It's time to build back better. Let's get started. Dawn and Tom are out helping a neighbor with a problem that needs some attention right away. So I'm going to be working on this. We did our mix with the tractor yesterday. It didn't go so well. So we're gonna, I think we just mixed too big a batch. So we're gonna part that out into smaller batches and remix some of it as we go along in smaller batches. That batch that we did yesterday was just too big and too dry. I'm trying to fix that, and this batch here that I put on was simply too wet. Now it's going to sag a little bit if I'm not careful. So I went ahead and mixed a smaller batch, a little bit drier, but not quite as dry, because what we had that we'd done yesterday was too dry. So this side's a little bit too wet. This side's a little more like it. It's kind of like cold Play-Doh, maybe. Not super pliable. You got to work it. And remember, I drilled some holes in my bags so that we can get the cob to grab onto it in that Lego fashion, I guess. Probably wasn't called Lego fashion at the time. There were no Legos. But that's what Dawn calls it. So we're going to go with it. We tried to do a tractor mix with our cob, and we just can't get the knack. Plus, every time we drive over it, a whole lot of the cob gets stuck in those big, deep treads on the tractor. And we felt we were losing a lot of material in that. So we're doing a stomping method, which, if I haven't shown it to you already, I'll show it to you pretty soon in this video. To mix the cob, and that seems to be working very well. We've adjusted our mix though a little bit to where I'm adding more sand to it other than the sand that already exists in our subsoil and our soil and our clay, and we're adding a little more of the Portland cement to each batch that we make. When we're putting it on the wall, because our bags ended up being about 14 inches wide, we made a frame to make it easier, a little bit quicker, to put the cob up and make sure that we're staying true to the width that we want. That's not for you, bird. So this is the frame that Dawn made that we're using to build our cob wall with. It's about 5.5 inches deep, and like I said, about 40 inches long. One end is solidly braced to make the end of the cob. These two parts help hold this in line, and then this end that's open goes against the cob that we've already done up there. So this is the end that goes against what we've finished up there. That end becomes the other end. There still are some spots that we have to do by hand. That just can't be helped because of the way that everything fell and collapsed. We have some little tiers still that need to be addressed, usually individually. We're having a lot of cracking. We're going to try and fix that with some addition of sand to our mix, because what we've got is really heavily clayed soil right now. So let me show you some of the other stuff. All right, this is what I did earlier when I did everything first. This part was done by hand, probably about from here on I did by hand, and then we started using the frame. And here's the other side of what we did, all this with the frame that Dawn had made. So we're going to try and get this finished and maybe hopefully get started on another whole course today. We're not sure how far we'll get. It's kind of a challenging work, but as we go along, we'll get it perfected. The first frame that we made, we were on a second frame. The first frame we made, we just made out of scraps, mostly to see if it would work. And it did very well. Our problem with it was that it was made from old wood that we had lying around in our wood scrap pile. And it suffered from aging as far as it was twisted, it was warped. We mostly wanted to see if it was going to work. So we actually spent a little bit, not too much, on a better quality wood board so we can make a truer frame, one that stays true as far as straightness. We're going to try it first thing this morning. So let me take you out and we'll show you the difference between the two. All right, this one is the first frame that we were using. And we actually had another crossbeam back down here. We actually utilized it on this newer frame. And those are just to help keep these from slipping or widening out when we're packing them with the cob. So you can kind of see there's a warpage here. There's a twist down here on this board. It worked very well otherwise. But it's just, like I said, it's twisted and warped. We don't want that. So here's our newer one, our second version. It's the same width board, 5.5 inches, which is like considered a 6-inch board. We're 40 inches long and then 14 inches on that inside width. These two just are there to hold that width the same all the way across. Also works as a little bit of a handle to pull that off. This is how we get the cob into the bucket on the tractor. We roll it up with the tarp as leverage, and it goes right up into the bucket on the tractor. Over here. That's our freshly mixed cob. I showed you earlier how we get it into the bucket. This is our new frame we're going to be using. We did show you, I think, some of using the old frame. This is the first time using our new frame. So we missed everything inside of it. We missed the sidewalls of it. We missed underneath the supports across the top. We missed all the clay that's underneath there. So here we go. Fairly close there. It's just this side will have to come up just a touch. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Copperline Rattler Ranch. I'm Julia. It's time to build back better. Here we go.